Mother-in-law, 56, female, deliberately infected my 27, female, 1-year-old daughter with chickenpox. I'm livid. She doesn't think it's a big deal. I can hardly type this out because thinking about it makes me so angry. Earlier this year, my husband, 31, male, and I decided to spend Christmas with his family for the first time since my daughter Annie, 13 months, was born last September. Since they live 12 hours away, we decided to stay for a few weeks before Christmas so they could spend loads of time with Annie. We arrived early like we planned, and everything was great. I've had a few disagreements with my mother-in-law, Trish, 56, female, in the past over my parenting style. She criticized me for using disposable diapers, buying baby food from the supermarket, and not raising Annie as an organic baby, but everything seemed great. After a day or two settling in my husband, and I decided to pick up a few gifts from a mall around an hour away before the last-minute rush kicked in. My father-in-law, 60, male, tagged along. Trish said she was happy to take care of Annie. We got back a few hours later, and Annie was down for a nap on a blanket I didn't recognize. Trish said one of her friends dropped by and gave it as an early Christmas gift. It looked pretty old and worn, but I figured one of her hippie friends was just recycling it. The next 2 weeks were fine, aside from Trish making a point to prepare meals for Annie from scratch. I mentioned this to my husband, and he said to just let her be. Annie mostly mushed the food Trish gave her with her hands or threw the bowls on the floor, as she's been doing at the moment. Trish said it would take her a while to get used to nutritious meals. I was getting sick of her meddling, but it was only for a few weeks, so for the sake of the holidays, I let it slide. The day after Christmas, Annie was really unsettled and wouldn't stop fidgeting and crying. I took her temperature and she had a fever, so I kept an eye on her for the next few days, and it thankfully started to go down. This morning, she started to get a rash and blisters on her arms and legs, and I freaked out. I was packing a bag to drive to see a doctor when Trish asked where I was going. I told her Annie had a rash, and I was taking her to see a doctor. She got a weird, smug smile on her face and told me there was nothing to worry about. When I asked her what she was talking about, she said, without even looking at Annie, that what she had was just chickenpox. I asked her how she could possibly know that, and she casually admitted one of her friend's grandkids had chickenpox a few weeks ago, so she asked them to wipe a blanket over the child's arms, legs, and face and bring it to her house.